Shannon, I was listening earlier and you made a point or a reference to players versus teams. And I'm going to kind of go down that road too, because as players, if you get fined one time in the league for socks or uniform, you get fined one time, it's $5,000 or whatever it is. The next offense you have, there's no explanation that you can give. There's there's nothing you can do that will tell them that they're not going to fine you again. And guess what, Jenny? That fine is then doubled. Yeah. It doubles every time. So when you continue to do the same thing over and over again, they don't regress. They don't go backwards. They don't go in reverse and say, you know what? I know you knew the rules, but we're going to give you another chance. Or I know you knew the rules, and we're just going to keep it at $5,000. No, they're going to implement the rules that are set in place. And so the issue that I have with this is that the Patriots understand the rules better than anyone, which is why there's a phrase that's often used called toe the line. And what toe the line means, and I'll give this analogy in sport. You get as close to bending or breaking the rule or making the official or those who are implementing the rules, you get as close to that as possible. If you toe that line and if you step on that line and they don't see you and they miss it, that's on them. But it's your job to get as close to or to force the issue, to press the envelope. And that's what the New England Patriots do. Do I fault them? Absolutely not. Are they wrong? Yes, they are.
Okay, so you believe that Bill Belichick masterminded this whole concept of sending a quote-unquote film crew to Cincinnati under the auspices of doing a piece for the website, a day in the life of an advanced scout. So Belichick masterminded this whole sort of scenario so that he could surreptitiously tape sideline signals by the Bengals during the game.
Skip, when somebody doesn't want to be attached to something, they know the big picture, but it's like, but I don't want to know all the details. Don't tell me all the details. Because why? Because they don't want to be attached to or criminalized by saying, you know what? You knew.
Right.
You knew. Now he's going to be guilty by association because he's over it all. But you better believe Bill Belichick knows everything that goes on in that building. Period. No more needs to be said. There is nothing that, if a player does something, if a scout does something, if an employee does something, you know who gets to find out? Bill Belichick. You know if something is done outside of that organization, but it's attaching to the organization, who's going to be the first one to find out? Bill Belichick. He's going to know everything that goes on outside and within those walls. Why? Because he is held in charge.
Why wouldn't you run the scam on the Chiefs the week before? Because that game would be harder to win than the Bengals.
Who
said
they haven't been running it?
Well, have they sent the same crew every week to do an advanced scout piece for the website?
But this is why it would make sense, because you would do this with the Bengals because you would think nobody's going to care. Because it's the Bengals.
They were hiding in plain sight, dressed in New England paraphernalia. No, they said somebody else in the crew had on a Patriots T-shirt.
So, but let me show you. So why when they ask, oh, we craft productions? You work for the Patriots. You work for the Patriots. Don't tell anybody you craft productions. You work for the New England. If you're doing it for Robert Kraft, you're doing it for the New England Patriots. So they're doing it for the New England Patriots. Now, remember in 2015, what did they say? What are you supposed to say, Skip? Look, you've heard this before. Prisoners of War, you watch all these movies. What do you give them, Skip? You give them your name. You give them your rank. You give them your serial number. So what if you get caught? What are you supposed to tell them, Skip? We craft productions, and we're doing a production piece. Now, they just told us that's what they said.
Okay, they're not full-time employees. They're independent production crew hired just to do this one piece for the website.
So this is the only time they've used that independent
I don't know. I don't know that.
Day in the Life, I think it's been a series, so I'd assume that they've shot the other versions of this series.
They're using that same production company. The likelihood that I'm doing pieces and I'm going to get somebody else to do each individual piece is highly unlikely. I'm not saying I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's highly unlikely. We're doing pieces each week, Jenny, and each week we hire a different film crew. Skip, what's the likelihood of that happening?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
Nope, it's not very likely because you're going to typically have one runner and you're going to send somebody that is in-house to go and meet that runner to capture that footage.
My turn here.
Go for it.
Way more than you have. I have been down on Bill Belichick from the first day, September 6th of 2016, we started doing this show. And if you follow my history back to the other network, I have little to no respect for Bill Belichick as an all-time great coach because he's disqualified. He has cheated. He's been caught red-hand cheating. He's been accused of taping the walkthroughs on Saturday before the first two Super Bowls that he won by executives from those two teams, the Rams and the Carolina Panthers. So now you're out to me because Bill Walsh wouldn't stoop to do that. Tom Landry wouldn't stoop to do that. Keep going. Vince Lombardi, Don Shula, they wouldn't stoop to do all the things he's been accused of, all the way down to Peyton Manning saying, we never had a meaningful conversation, a strategic conversation in the locker room because we thought it was bugged. Okay, nobody would stoop to that except Bill, as Don Shula once called him, Bill Belichick. So I'm much stronger than you are in the big picture.
Right.
But this is the little picture, and this seems innocent, and I get that the league is shrugging and saying, this is innocent to us because it would make sense to me. You would send the film crew to Cincinnati to interview the advanced scout, scouting the Bengals, and you would shoot B-roll footage from his seat in the press box.
8 minutes.
Row two. You wouldn't shoot 30 seconds. You'd shoot 8 minutes to make sure you got the best 30 seconds.
But
Well, that's how you do pieces.
Yeah,
You've been there. You've had.
I have, but what I'm trying to understand, why when he was caught in the NFL security, why did he say, can I just release this and it all be forgotten?
I don't know.
You did it.
What's funny is you are quick to pounce on them because you are so suspicious of them because they deserve your suspicion. They earned it a long time ago.
Well, Skip, it's hard that if I know you're a thief and the bank robbed and the bank has been robbed and you in the bank, it's just hard for me to believe that you didn't have something to do with it. Now, I could be wrong, but it's just hard.
But this is the one that seems innocent to me. I don't know how else you would do that piece except to send the film crew to sit in his seat and shoot down the way he's sitting up there taking notes of the signals himself. Orlando Skandrick was here yesterday and told me he couldn't remember a defensive meeting he was in as a player that they weren't telling him what the signals were. Look for this, look for that, because they're all trying to steal signs from each other.
Yes.
That's how it works.
But you can steal signs in baseball. But what has it got the Houston Astros in trouble?
But it was how they were stealing.
Exactly, Skip.
Okay, they were doing it electronically, right? Okay, so that was, okay.
With the camera.
All right.
If camera, big guy, Greg, you know,
It's a piece of technology.
You know,
Things in
I
electronics.
haven't really taken a camera outside of with my cell phone. I hadn't had a Polaroid, you know, look, black and white, you know, disposable camera. I hadn't taken one of them, so I think we're a little more advanced, Skip. But the thing is that here's what's with a hard time. And everybody's like, Coach, and you hear everybody when they talk about Coach Belichick, from Chris Collinsworth to Troy Aikman, everybody, he knows everything in this organization from top to bottom. Now he knows nothing. Damn, he forgot quick.
Okay, if you tried this under the auspices of we're an independent film crew and you did that, you commissioned that, this is like a Saturday Night Live skit. It's so stupid and silly that you're trying to hide in plain sight as we're wearing our New England paraphernalia, but we're actually secretly videotaping your sideline.
Yeah, think about
it's silliness.
Yeah, there's a playbook. If you were to get caught, this is what you say. What did they say?
If I really want the Bengals signals, I send a scout disguised as a fan because I can buy a ticket up close and personal, right up there where I can cell phone tape the whole 3.5 hours of signals to take back to break
But you're going to probably give
I can do it. I can do it. Why would I shoot it from the press box? It's silliness.
It's the angle.
It's laughable.
It's the same reason
the angle is terrible.
The angle is terrible. Let me ask you a question. Why do they shoot all 22s from
exactly? So they can see everything.
Okay, but that's watching 22 men. If you want to get close to signals, I'll get you a seat down on row 10 or row 8.
No, Skip, because you can't just get the signal. You have to see what happens
behind the signal.
Okay, but that's, you can marry it up.